management press. Displayed in a custom built display case specifically designed for TMP. Very specialized and are rarely featured in display ads or stocked by general bookshops. The books available on the website don't answer them two things they are not getting. Look how much marks for those two questions. Right. Does that mean 5 pages of answers? No. At two things we are doing and forget the 5 marks. Even if you want to work it in your head, you say two things, 2.5 marks each. That can never be 5 pages. It can't even be two. Yeah, probably if it's 3/4 one. Yeah. Right? Because they needed to touch two separate things. You know. What is driving TMP? You notice them say TMP. It's not a generic question, it's a question specifically targeted at TMP. Alright? Now we know some generic answers. What are some generic answers? Right? You can increase revenue because with internet you get greater access, that independence of location we talk about, you get that access, right? So you get global reach. It can reduce your cost, it can give you greater revenue. What else? Can build your brand, right? Um, it can because I build a brand in the sense that it's making it probably a little bit more customer centric. It's 24 hours, right? And a lot of organizations don't even have a website anyway. Chances are the brand look kind of weak if you don't have a website. All right. And so, if anything, and if you thought about it, you probably say, you know what, I probably don't need more than say, um, if I come up with 3 solid points, and those were just 3 generic things that come up at the top of the head. Don't stop and think too much about it. Either the 3 of them or the 2 of them or the one that come to your head or not come to your head moving right along. Right? It's just what comes to you. Nobody stop now and try remember what was in the notes or what was in the book. If it is come to you, I not come to you. Alright? The next thing you're going to do now is then I say, let me look in the case and see if the case helps me out. Since I can only remember 3 or 2 or 1, let me see if the case. And of course, the 1 or the 2 or the 3 that we did remember, we also need to check if those are relevant to the answer. Because they may not be relevant to the answer. Alright? So remember when you're going through this, don't try to remember everything. Don't try to remember everything. What come to you, drop down what come to you. Then go into the case. Alright? Similarly on the flip side about the potential barriers, what are some of the potential barriers? No, not from the case yet. Just generic. Yeah, okay, could be switching costs. You may have resistance from the customers, the potential users that them don't want to use internet. There may be one of the reasons why they don't want it, and again, one of the barriers could be that there's not enough internet penetration in the country, right? So those are just generic stuff. And again, we don't have to try to remember every generic stuff. All right? But we could have think of some generic ones. Again, we need to now check to see if those generic stuff relate to the case. All right? And then part B asks us to evaluate how e-business might help TMP exploit each of the 5 elements of the marketing mix. And it gives you the 5. Now note we are talking about the 7 P's. In the exam setting, he will never ask you a question. It's very unlikely that he will ask you a question on all 7. He will normally ask you a question on 5. That has been his history. As he has done this on more than 1 or 2 occasions. And it's 5 in order to ask you. The only thing is that he picks the 5. So it may not be the 5 that you like. You're good, eh? Right? But he might pick the 5. Alright, and so he will put it in bracket and he will tell you. So this 5 now was price, product, promotion, place, and physical evidence identified by the marketing director. So note it's 5 of them. Note the marks. 20 marks. So do a rough little calculation and say 4 each. Chances are you won't necessarily find equal numbers for all of them, but you can work with the 4 each in your head. Some will be stronger than others, so you will find more for some than you will for others. Alright? But don't get yourself all, and show yourself off now by saying, for price, I came up with about 4 or 5 things and we can only come up with 1 thing for physical evidence. Don't matter. Right? Write your 1 thing, write your 5 things for price. Alright? If you had really 5 solid things for price, just write your 5 solid things for price. You only had 1 for physical evidence, write your 1, move on to the others. Alright? Because actually the mark allocation, he did not separate them. He said, as long as you come up with 20 points, you'll get 20. So technically, if you come up with 20 on the price alone, you will get it. But of course, you cannot come up with 20 on price alone, so nobody try it. Right? So don't try it, it's not going to happen. Alright? But just come up with what you can come up with. Don't panic and say anything like, the one you can come up with here. Alright? What is going to happen in these kind of cases? Some of them will have more than the others. Alright? That's the way it will always be. They will never have equal numbers. Alright? So don't panic over it. Alright? So it means then that we need to look at, we know exactly what this means, evaluate how e-business might help TMP exploit each of the 5 elements. Mm-hmm. But based on what you know and based on what is happening in the case, what he's asking you to do, look at price, for example. How does price change when we use e-business? How does that? So now, for example, we can say because you're using e-business, you should have less cost. So now your price can be cheaper. Right. Right. So look at things, for example, we have noticed, for example, some of you that see, you buy books online rather than buying books at the bookstore, the one online is cheaper because it is cheaper to generate it. Alright? So you start look at price. Right. You can have your price variations, maybe you can have your differential pricing, those kind of things. So they mentioned some persons buying books outside of Arcadia. Maybe if Arcadia is a kind of poor country, could make it for if anybody buy within Arcadia it's cheap. If anybody buy outside of Arcadia it's cheap, just like if these things is looking for in terms of your answer. Right. Those kind of things. That's what he's looking for. So take each of those pieces and look at it from an e-business perspective and see how TMT can change the complexion of things. Alright? So when we start to look through the case now, it's mentioned under business changes, which is one of the things, by the way, you notice the headings there. The exam had mentioned that students had asked about cases being too long, and them say, well, them trying to break it up as much as possible and put headings and blah, blah, blah. So you know where to go to. The problem with that, you have to be very, very careful with that because some other ideas do fall outside of those things. Because if you notice, for example, in the first paragraph that we read, they mentioned the fact that Arcadia is a high-cost economy. It mentions that the machinery almost obsolete 50 years ago. It mentioned that most of the sales are through books, yeah, through the bookstores and not through internet, right? It mentioned the books are displayed at the bookshops in custom built displays. So if we're doing our value chain thing, that is really marketing and the sales and the marketing and custom built. That may really sound very effective, right? And then them do some mail order thing as well. Them have online 10%, but they don't put the regular books online. I just some rare books them put online, right? So maybe the online could have even been generating more sales, right? Um, and the high selling prices and high distribution costs makes TMP books expensive to buy. So immediately started possibilities with your price, right? Because once I got e-business, we get rid of all the paper that we need, the shipping, everything is electronic, so people just download it to them tablet, them laptop, them phone, everything in, and it is substantially cheap. All right? So now we can compete outside. All right? On the business changes now, look at what it has here. In the last decade, costs have increased as raw materials, particularly timber, used in book production have become dearer. Every time I say that, I can't believe the English person. Dearer. Come and see some old Jamaican use there. Right? Paper is extremely expensive in Arcadia, and the trees used to produce it are becoming scarcer. Maybe you wanted it to rhyme with. Yeah. Are becoming scarcer. Online booksellers have also emerged who are able to discount prices by exploiting economies of scale and eliminating bookshop costs. Have you noticed? In Arcadia, it is estimated that 3 bookshops go out of business every week. Furthermore, the influential journal, Management Focus, one of the journals where TMP advertise their books, also recently ceased production. TMP itself has suffered 3 years of decline in sales and profits. Expenditure on marketing have been reduced significantly in this period, and further reductions in the marketing budget are likely because of the weak financial position of the company. Overall, there is increasing pressure on the company to increase profit margin and sales. Now look on a paragraph there. That give you a whole lot of stuff in there. These are a lot of drivers here. That means that we could even forget about our drivers that we really think about at the start. Right? Because look at what he has told us. The raw material is getting scarcer and dearer. Dearer. All right. So here's it. Their cost is going up under the traditional way of doing business. So that's a main driver. It could be cheaper now under e-business. All right. Where is it again? There are other things about right. Other persons are 3 bookshops are going out of business. 60% of their sales come through bookshops. Which means that if more bookshops close down, the more potential for your sales that disappear. You need to find other channels, other avenues, and there's a driver for it. There's your e-business. All right. Where they used to advertise, one of the major journals, management focus, gone out of business. Whoever hear about you now, again, you need now the internet. All right. They are under pressure because they are suffering decline in sales and profits, and there's increasing pressure for them to improve profit margins and sales. And remember our generic thing I said, internet can give you more revenue and it can reduce your cost. If it can give me more revenue and I reduce my cost, exactly, my profitability should increase. So just based on those, that's about 5 or 6 reasons. That could have given you the 5 points. Alright? But it asks you for barriers too. So let us give him some barriers. It also means, guys, we don't want any long rides. You know, we don't have to be very brief with it. No introduction as to who TMP is, we don't care. Right? We're not interested in what is happening at TMP, don't care, unless we are experienced as part of one of the drivers or barriers or whatever. Alright? So no introduction, just start writing. So put that head in main drivers and you start right. And you finish, you say, what's the next one? Barriers, potential barriers, and you start right. No big introduction, no introduction, I think, but no big introduction. Take back that part, no introduction at all. Alright? It's almost, yeah, it's almost like some bullet points. But I always kind of afraid to say bullet points to students because some of them know I always write one word. I mean, I want to write no one word. You know, I one word. You can use bullet points, but not one word. All right, make proper sentences. Yeah. All right. And because I wanted to do a lot of things in this little 5 mark here. All right. Despite the poor financial results, the directors of TMP are keen to maintain the established supply channels. One of them, the son of the founder of the company, has stated that bookshops need all the help they can get, and management journals are the heart of our industry. However, the marketing director is keen for the company to revisit this business model. He increasingly believes that TMP's conventional approach to book production, distribution, and marketing is not sustainable. He wishes to re-examine certain elements of the marketing mix in the context of the opportunities offered by e-business. A young marketing graduate has been appointed by the marketing director to develop and maintain the website. However, further development of the website has not been sanctioned by the board. Other directors have given two main reasons for blocking further development of this site. Firstly, they believe the company does not have sufficient expertise to continue developing and maintaining its own website. It is solely dependent on the marketing graduate. And secondly, they feel that the website will compete with established supply channels, which they are keen to preserve. However, the marketing director is convinced that investing in e-business is essential for the survival of TMP. We need to consider what unique opportunities it offers for pricing the product, promoting the product, placing the product, and providing physical evidence of the quality of the product. Finally, we might even redefine the product itself. He feels if the company fails to grasp these opportunities, then one of its competitors will, and that will be the end of us. All right. So if the first if that paragraph ahead, that previous paragraph had given us the drivers, we see the barriers, right? We see the barriers in this one. What are some of the barriers? Resistance by the directors, yeah. That's one major barrier, yeah. Because they believe that they need to support the bookshop. Imagine your business a lockdown, you are worried about supporting one next business. Right? Yeah.
Could I have put the board not giving approval, something apart from the overall culture of the organization?
What's the culture?
But based on what I'm seeing here, I don't have mission statement, which is seen as if they're more interested in the supply chain, the whole, the physical
Right.
aspect of it. Or it might be a situation where they have close connection with the
Bookshops.
supplier, given that one of the founders, one of them is the son of one of the founders, so probably some connection.
No, TMP son, right? The founder
One
of
of them is the son of the founder of the company.
TMP, yeah.
So I'm saying probably because they have that connection as well, they really don't want to.
Right. Well, you'd have to basically be a connected point because if you say that the directors are unwilling to support anything that's going to challenge the established supply chain, that's kind of giving the reasons why the directors are resistant to it. Yeah. Right? So you'd have to write there, the directors are resistant. One of the main drivers is the fact that the directors are resistant. Why are they resistant? They are resistant because they want to maintain the original supply chain. They want to protect the bookshop. Alright? Even if it means that it sinks TMP, yeah. They want to support it. And the second reason,
The lack of expertise.
they don't have the expertise. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if we have the evidence that they don't have the money. Right. But I don't know anything in there that necessarily says that they don't have the money.
If we could expand it to say they are cutting down on marketing because of funding, then you could say they won't want to pump anything into the website because that's additional marketing.
Okay. So from the alright, fine, we can work with that. But remember, back to the second one, again, they don't feel that they have the expertise, so they don't want to look at it. Right. Right. Yeah.
Can we also say that not only is it dependent on that one person, it was said that he was a marketing individual, not an IT person.
Yeah, I would put all of that together to say that the expertise is not there. Yeah. All right. So it's a young graduate. He was a marketing person. We're not sure about his competence in developing websites. So we asked them make the question. So that would have been 5 marks and you'd have been well on your way. And there's no way any student answering this question should not get 5 out of 5. Right? Yeah, everybody should have gotten 5 out of 5 for this one. And the markers do admit that they have given out full marks in questions. So some questions you can get the full marks. Alright? In the last in the very first question, I think it was question A, in section A was 21 marks. And the examiner says quite a number of students got 21 out of 20. And then them not do nothing at the other part. Yeah, write it so brilliantly, them just no matter the rest. Right? So alright now. We had a little discussion on part B about the price. So I don't want to touch on that again. What about product promotion, place, and physical evidence? What could we say around those? Yeah, so let's look at product. Yeah. Under the topic now, remember, right? Look at the product in terms of e-business. Right.
In terms of how it would look, it won't be hard anymore, but it can be soft copy. And as she was saying,
so now the product can change from this physical thing to a little soft copy thing we see. So you write that now to say that it's not going to be hard copy, it's not going to be a physical document anymore, it's going to be an electronic document that you can now view using your various smart instruments. No, let's not go there, let's not go there, so that's going to be going too far. Alright? My response? In terms of. Oh yeah, man, even the answers, but this first one is correct so far, so it's not different from my response. All right. So here's what. So on the product, we look at how we can use e-business and the internet to change the product. Just like the price, we look at to see how e-business and the internet can change not only the price but our pricing strategy. Alright? And so we mentioned you can offer differential pricing because we're getting rid of the physical part, we can do special online pricing so we can give persons discounts. Right? And here's one of the things though, that I wanted to mention in terms of the price. Last week I said, yeah man, but we just explaining something to her and just touching on price. But one of the things I said last week is that remember for internet we can easily compare price. So that's one of the things that now, one of the things it can do now is to give you more dynamic pricing, more price sensitive pricing, etc. So it can allow you to adjust. When we come back to product now, the point that we had wanted to make, the first point that the class had given was that you can actually change the product itself. Alright? So it is no longer the product, anybody have a book in here? The product would have been a book, a hard copy book. You go in a bookstore, it have a book cover, right? It has physical leaves that you turn. Alright? Now with e-business and the internet, we change it to an electronic book. We're not here with that. We're just saying that these are the options. Alright? So don't go into the negative around it. Try and point out this is what you could still do. Alright? So this is what e-business allows you to do with the product. Alright? And it's a good thing that you asked that point because somebody has raised another point. What was the point again? Alicia, you had asked something. I said, don't carry it. Or is it? Don't carry it so far. What was it again? Oh, what if the device is lost or stolen and so you are damaged and your book, your ebook was on there? Again, not our concern. We are only interested in what? The opportunity that it presents to the business. Alright? So we're only interested in the opportunity. So it says exploit each. How can they exploit each? So as a business, that is not my concern. And me, I sell the e-reader and then kind of thing, then the e-reader people then go worry about that. So go back to past this. Look at what we mentioned last week to come up with some ideas. Last week we said, tell us about the core product, tell us about the actual product, and then tell us about the extended, augmented, right? Alright? So talk about the core product. The person wants one book. These are management books. Them just want the material, they just want the information. And we can make the information available electronically. That's the point. Alright? That's what they want.
On what they were saying, we can make the product in such a way where we provide you with the information, and even if the device is lost, we can still have it and then like register with us. So anywhere you go and log in, you can access the information.
Yeah, but not required for this answer.
I'm
Alright?
just saying.
Because then we're trying to solve too much things, and it's not that. So the examiner not going to give you any marks for that. He's not going to take off any marks, but he's not going to give you any marks. So having written it, you don't get nothing. When you could have used it, then now come up with another idea. Alright?
Well, this time is for, or you can get the, why you get the actual product in the department store, you don't get that on warranty on the book or something like that, but it's on the website, you have it available.
I'd probably put that on the probably physical evidence, right? those kind of niceties, put those probably then on the, yeah, probably on a physical evidence. Yeah, probably even that too could have probably go on a physical evidence, but not on the product. We're just looking at how we can change the product using electronically. How can we get the customers to get it and feel like they want to buy it or something like that? Alright? Here's another way that we can look at the product. We can look at it to say that maybe, and somebody had mentioned, and we talked about it last week as well, maybe they don't want to buy the book. Maybe all they want to do is read a part of it because maybe they're doing research, maybe many of them are doing MBAs and those kind of things, and so all they want is to read a part of it. So offer the, a subscription, almost like a library, but it's a paid library. So if you want to read stuff on my website, then you pay. And you make it be whatever amount. There's a website called Safari. There's a book that I wanted to read. It had to do with critical thinking because I was preparing something special for the intense revision people. And I could not find the book anywhere. And did I find it somewhere I could buy it or something like that? I don't remember, but never really want to buy it. Kind of money for it. Right? I'm going to say all I wanted to do was just take a few things over there. But Safari said they had the book. But you have to be a member to see the book. So they showed me like the first page. And said if you want to see the rest, you have to become a member. And then they said on the bottom, actually today we're giving away a 10-day free membership. So you can be a member for 10 days. After 10 days, then you have to pay. So I just sign up to be a member for 10 days. And then I just simply copied all the things that I wanted from the book, pasted it there, didn't even bother read through it quick, so I say, all right, this looks good. Copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. For the 10 days, and I keep sending the message, say, your 10 days to expire, your 10 days to expire, till when it expires, till your 10 days expire, you have to pay money now. Right? So, again, look at it. Look at how the product changed. I don't have to buy this entire book anymore. Suppose this was a P3 book, imagine that, and the P3 book have all the much pages in there. And the only thing I wanted was the part dealing with project management. If I go to a normal bookstore, what will I do? Because if I go to the cashier and say, it's only chapter 8 me want, don't you have to call security for me and kick me out, eh, please? Because must listen, because she don't sell chapters. Alright? But online, they can sell chapters. Again, 2 points that you just gave as far as the product is concerned. They can start look at stuff like other things like the actual product or extended use of the product. So what I make them buy my product or buy other things. So for example, if it's management journals, here's what you can offer. You can also offer them CDs, points to other websites. Maybe they can get connections to other websites. That says if you join my website or buy things, you can download other worksheets or stuff like that. There's a thing now where if you buy a physical book, there's this book, I can't remember the name, that teaches about Excel and various other things. When you buy the book, it points you to a website. Yeah, and I think even BPP does give you some stuff as well. Because it gives you a code inside the book, and you go to the website, and you get enter the code, and you get additional stuff. Alright? Again, this is all possible because of electronic stuff. So you put all of those things in your product. So you write that to say, I can change the product like this, and I can do more than just change the product. I can give you additional features that a bookstore would never ever be able to give you around that product. Alright, and again, no introduction, you just make your points. Say the very first point, I can now change it to an electronic book, no physical book anymore. Say I can even look at give offering subscription and you rent books. And you rent book. Right.
At a cheaper price would be on the pricing.
Yeah.
Renting the book would be on the product.
On a product, yeah. Renting itself. I'm interested in discussing the price to the renter. Alright. Say that we can not only rent you the book, we can also offer you chapters or parts of the book, sections of the book. That's 3 different things we are doing in the book.
So the rental would go, I don't understand.
The same thing I just mentioned about Safari. Right. You want to get access to all the books in my library. Right. Right. Yeah. Netflix, for example, you pay money for your annual or monthly or whatever it is subscription to Netflix. You log on to Netflix and you watch all the movies that you want. You're not buying the movies, you are just renting the movies. Alright. And probably audio as well, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So again, it does anything, does start think of anything different that you can do than the physical book. Alright? But don't forget the little subscription model, and don't forget that you can offer part of the thing. Alright? And then mention that you can offer additional things when you buy, for since it's a management book. So imagine if you get buy like a management ethics book. When you buy that book, it says, I will give you a link to a lot of ethics cases so you can practice. Those kind of things. Alright? Or I will offer you a look to a lot of past paper questions so you can get them. So you can practice as well. Alright? So now I augment the product. Alright? I give it more features. Alright? Then when we look at the promotion now, mention something is happening with his. They have very weak promotion in the sense that they just use one bookcase in the bookshop. So if nobody not going to the bookshop, they don't know about your book. Right, the persons who used to advertise for them, that management journal there, whatever it name, management something, focus, right, closed down. Now you have the internet gives you some great options. Right. And so now, remember now you can advertise, you can pay Google so that when people search for your web bookstores, your name come up at the top. You can do affiliate programs with other websites. So maybe you could connect to schools like University of the West Indies, UTech. So students go on to their website and I wonder about books. You will see TMP come up and you click your TMP link, those kind of things, and that give you a greater sales. You can, right. But when people come on your website, you can do other things, collect email addresses so that you can send promotional stuff to them. Right.
I think we can make back to the fact that they're not competent enough to maybe the whole website and everything.
Right.
They're able to even with e-business like autoresponders, they have persons who can every 2 days they send out something to your email list, or whatever, like follows up with their clients.
To say these are the new books that we have in store. Right. Yeah. Those kind of things. Alright. And then the place. Yeah. It is available 24/7 anywhere in the world. Right. Yeah. So we don't need bookshops anymore. Because here's and if you should, one of the things they should pick up is that how do I write the response to these things? Do I just simply come up with ideas? Yeah, you can do that, but here's where you can also pick up some extra marks and kind of make your thing look a little bit more logical. Just talk about what they're doing now versus what e-business can do for them. So in place of simply say they use bookshops now, and this mail order thing, and look what internet can do for you. Available 24 hours a day, you know, worry about the bookshop closed down, you know, worry about that kind. Right. So when you write it like that, you actually don't even have to come up with a whole lot of ideas, because the fact that you picked up what was happening under that heading, and then you talk about what could happen under the new heading, you're getting marks for that, and you're getting marks for the new idea. All right. So let that be part of the approach as well, particularly when it comes to these e-marketing questions. Talk about what is or was, and talk about the new. All right. This is how they operate now. If they go the new way, this is how they could change that. All right. He likes it when you write it like that. All right. Mm-hmm. No, I probably would have raised that in price to say that that would have been one of the reasons that it would have reduced the price, because you would have gotten rid of all of those, and therefore you're cheaper now, you can offer lower prices, blah, 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 blah. All right? Right. And the physical evidence. Yeah, because place not a whole thing, but what we're going to write in there, remember, we're going to say, instead of depending on the bookstores now, which are closing down, you now have these options. The physical evidence is the customer experience. Mm-hmm. Who can come within the physical area, right? Yeah, yeah. So you could also, from that, build your point and say, since it's virtual, you're not restricted to Arcadians. Anybody can now come. All right. All right. So your physical evidence. What we have for physical evidence? They come from Arcadia, so they must be Arcadia. Right. So how do we see physical evidence now? How is it happening now in their kind of business? Right, you'll be able to go in at a bookstore, right? You're able to skip through the book, right? Before you buy it. What happens now with websites? So right, that's part of it. As part of the physical evidence, currently TMP through their bookstores will allow customers to actually physically examine the book, look at the table of contents, for example, scroll through, blah, 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 look at stuff. All right, so that's the current setup. Under e-business, what is the likely setup? No, you can get sample. So one of the things where the as far as the marketing mix is concerned, it kind of drop down on is really the physical evidence. Right? I don't give you some of the things that you could physically get if you're going to a real bookstore. If we're looking at it not from a bookstore point of view, if we're looking at it, say we're about develops. And I said, let me taste that one first. Let me taste that one first. Let me taste that one first. We can't taste it over the so what you do is you say many online sellers or retailers of books allow you to do a peek inside. You can preview the book. Right? They won't allow you to see all of the books like you could have doing at a physical bookstore. But they will let you see like probably the first 10 pages, 20 pages, 30 pages, something like that. Right, and you'll get to see like the table of contents and those kind of things. So you write that in there. All right. You can see other things as well in terms of the physical evidence that you're not going to get from the bookstore. Right? Because you can look to review, right? So you can see users' review, persons who use that book, what they thought of it. And what they recommend, right? Yeah, yeah. And you don't get that in any bookstore anywhere. Alright? So even though for the physical evidence it kind of fall down on some parts of it, we kind of also pick up back on certain things. So the weak link as far as e-business is concerned is around physical evidence. But there are other benefits that it brings in terms of the physical evidence. Somebody can respond to them, those kind of things, yeah, as well, yeah. Alright? Which you don't get anywhere else. You don't get it in any physical bookstore. Alright? So I said that was just a bad question. Right? So I could have done. Yeah. Right. And these and it's not a make-up question. No matter that's not the word there in there. I didn't make up the question. It's really it's an exam question. Right? So this is an exam question written by the same examiner as you. It's been nice quite a few years, man. Right? If not really somebody, no. You just need to get what is it that he wants of you. Alright? Alright, any questions? Do we feel a little better? Because we're gonna have some more questions now with the 6th eye. Right? But at least you should feel like you know a little bit now about it. Yeah. And it's the same thing, the same method that we'll use if you ask us about the 6th eyes. Alright? You look at how what role does independence of location play? Because it is always the same thing as place. Right? And they talk about the individualization, that I can individualize the experience because I give you a login. It means that when you come back now, I can say these are the things that that kind of thing. Alright? So for example, some of you are on Twitter, and I'm not sure how often on a tweet, right? And you do get mails from Twitter from time to time that says, this should be up your ballpark because this looks like it's a topic that you are interested in. That is your individualization. Them try and study and figure out what you like. Oh, we're talking about the 6 eyes. Alright, yeah. Alright? So as I was saying, we're going to use the 6 eyes the same way that we use the 5 Yeah. That's why a lot of sites, if you want to give free things, they want you to sign up. Tell them want your email address. And they want to study you. And then know if they have an email address and figure out where you want, then can email stuff to you. So no matter if it's free, I want to know who you are. Yeah, man, price was one we did it when we were doing the initial, when we had just started. You know, right? Yeah, the very first one we did was price. All right, any other question? All right, everybody have a copy of class notes 8? Except for Julius. I don't have an extra one from Julius. I have to ask them for. Because I went around earlier and I got some printed. All right, one of the things you should pick up when you look at class notes 8, you will see at the bottom, it said page 1 of, and you probably said, wow, what a lot of things. And project management is important in the syllabus. But even though we give you a lot of things there's just a few things that, and that doesn't mean that you mustn't read the rest of it. Something I can hear from knowing students sometimes say, oh, sir, say, you know, about read the rest of it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm going to touch on a few things because these are particularly important areas. The rest, there are things that straightforward enough to read. Alright? So the first thing I'm going to tell you about is, so that's everyone at the first thing, what is a project? Alright? A project has 3 characteristics that make it a project. Alright? Those are all on page one. Quality, budget, and time. Alright, let me start with time. Every project has a start and an end date. You notice when we go work, we have stuff on this that never disappear, right? That's not a project. Alright? If you have a project, it's not, if you have another project, it will have done already. If it's not done, not a project. Every project, no exceptions. Every project has a start and an end date. Alright? Now, some of you may, for example, have audits and so forth and can do the audit themselves as a project. Yeah, and then some of them, right? And so you go on the audit, and you have a date to start it, and there's a date for it to be there. Right? That's all because they themselves, the company that's been audited, have statutory and regulatory requirements to it. Alright? Thing must be at the end of the year must be done in whatever the period after the end of your business year, whatever the thing. Right? So you have to finish with it. So every project has a start and an end date. No doubt about it. Alright? Secondly, every project has a budget, which happens to be a constraint. Alright? So every project, we're going to know that we're working with a budget. $10 million, $20 million, $100 million, whatever the figure is. Alright? What that will now tell us is how we're going to now use the resources so that we don't bust the budget. Alright? And every project has quality to it, which means these are the deliverables. Deliverables or user requirements or business requirements. Alright? So every project goes is commissioned or is constituted because we want to accomplish something. So every project has an objective. And how we're going to judge the project, we judge the success of a project based on the same three criteria. Did you deliver the project objectives? Did the project come in within budget and was it delivered on time? Alright, and you must pass all three to be rated as a good project. Alright? Here's another thing that we know about project. We're talking about what is project. The project is delivered through teams. Alright? There is no project that is a one-man project. Alright? If it's a one-man project, chances are the project is not going to ever end and have an end date. Yes. Because one man really cannot be doing everything, and it needs to call on resources from other areas. And then because the resources from other areas have not been officially assigned to the project, it means that I'm coming to you now for some information. You know what you tell me? You have your other job to do, and your boss are waiting on it, and that's your project, you know, to do with you, and blah, 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 and you do your primary desk first. So when you sit down and wait and wait and wait, and of course your primary desk will say it's not a project, you're not that work hard. So guess what? You never have time to meet. So my project will never ever be completed. So one of the things we always talk about in terms of good features of project teams is whether or not the persons on the project um, fully, whether or not they have been fully assigned to the project, which means that we take you from your primary desk and put you on the project and say you are the project resource argument, which means you have no excuse, and also your primary manager can't bother you anymore. You get to focus on the project, and we can get the project done properly. So if the examiner gives you a question, you there your office, look around and see, are the persons, the resources of the project, have they been partially or fully assigned to the project? Partial assignment, unless the person is really not really doing anything too major on the project, is not generally that good. One person who are dedicated to the project. Alright? So we want to start finding in the teams as well. In as part of the handout that we have near the back, we give you a little bit of discussion on the teams. The examiner really not interested in that, but you do need to read it. Where it is. On page 10, creating the type of team, the creation of an effective team. We had mentioned even by the way on page 11, some characteristics of an effective team. So you want somebody, for example, who is a coordinator, you want somebody who is a shaper. What is it, what Meredith Bell did who came up with that in the same project of the board? You can't have everybody be the same characters. You can't have everybody being quiet. And you can't have everybody being agreeable too. On page 10, the top of page 10, we talk about the four stages of the team. You don't want everybody to be an extrovert either. Because you're going to have too many extroverts aside for the limelight and nothing will get done. The team actually needs somebody who's quiet and do the work because you actually need somebody to do the work. But they kind of want the little knuckles. Yeah. Can you do need a little knuckles? And knuckles make people know why and get excited about the project. So nice some knuckles go to place. Right? Them one like I never make the project. Them probably not doing the work, you know. But it's alright because you do need them actually. You need them to go and chat about the project and then we kind of get people interested and buying. Right? You want persons who want to let them brighten everybody. They actually want a person to ask questions. Right? Some of us don't want to ask no question, we keep quiet in the meetings, we don't want to say nothing. But you have somebody who that don't sound like it can work. Right? How does that work? You know, that can't work. That will cause a problem there, that will cause a problem there, and that will cause a problem. Nothing wrong with that. Don't hate them. They must play a, yeah, they must play a role. Alright? We need them.
It is required.
Yes. Alright? So don't hate people. And you might say, you just want everybody here and that kind of thing. Right? And I've been involved with persons like those. I've read and I've material on trying to take charge of meetings. And some of the stuff I'm reading on the material, I've been in meetings where we say individuals have practiced it. What I think them to, for example, is when you go in a meeting, how you take command, you don't talk, you talk soft. Now suddenly everybody has to stop to whatever I do and listen to you and move forward. And this those guy who used to just do it all the while. To me, I get on top of my nerves. And I say, you know what, that's why man. Sometimes the people, it's really you guys. So it's hard time, then we have to do it too. Right? What? But it's still when you read them, okay, people say that's what it was. Right? I read a book one time where it says, where it started something like that. So like if you want to start at, normally I start the meeting at 10 o'clock, you know, but I start at 9:47. Hey, no, it started 10 o'clock, everybody are walking long after. I tried it one time, see, and everybody was on time. Because they couldn't understand why I said the meeting time for 9:47. 9:47? Not even 9:45, but it's 9:47.
People like me that come to us and make us
Yeah, simple was it, but you know, they're going to get work second time because everybody asked, so why is 9:47? Yes, I told them. I said, oh, it's alright. The try to get that, you know, I don't know. Right? But everybody was there before I got there. Everybody was in the meeting. I don't know why 9:47. Right? So we look at those things in terms of our project. We talk about our teams and what we want our teams to look to be like. And the examiner doesn't specifically ask about team, but sometimes what you may see is when you read through the rest of the stuff that we have here, it mentioned on page 1, we talk about the stages of the team, the forming, the storming, the norming, the performing. Right? So the top of page 10, again, not something that the examiner will ask you, but look at the problems that may be happening in the case. When individuals, remember these are individuals from different areas and have their own objectives, different culture, one comes from finance, one comes from IT, one comes from marketing, one comes from the business, one comes from everybody know, everybody are trying to kind of show them fellas and say, well, I mean, we're supposed to be in charge, I might not be the project manager, but we're right this one in here, and everybody are trying to show up everybody. Alright? So here's what you're gonna have at the start. Something you pull everybody together is forming the team. But once the team is quote unquote formed, so put everybody together, here war storming. Alright? Then look what happens after storming. So we have so many battles going on. Everybody has decided to be nice. So now we have norming. But everybody now too nice. Right? So nobody now ask the question again. So in your head you're saying, you must have idea that stupid that can't work. What? You know, nobody can bite off my head and last week with a big fight, so you know I'm gonna skip much. Which is not good for the project either. So everybody will sit down and like, that's what we call that the normal stage. And then finally you pass through the normal stage, you finally actually start to do work. So what we expect from a project manager, the reason why we're bringing this up, is that what we expect from the project manager, and he's in charge of the team, is to get the team from the storming to the performing as quickly as possible. We need to recognize that they go through these stages and need to be able to get them back. Alright? So projects are delivered through teams. Alright? Here's another thing that we mentioned we want to make important. The project, and again, this is the examiner not going to ask, it does assume that you know and understand. So this is how we ask the question. When businesses try to deliver strategy, we talk about strategy into action. We mean we have to implement a lot of stuff. Since it's a number of things that we're going to do, we're probably going to change processes, we might have to retrain staff, make some redundant, buy new software, buy new hardware, bring in new staff. Probably something that might even mean documenting our new processes, changing our products and services, those kind of things. It is best if you implement strategies not as one long, humongous stream of activities that don't ever seem to end, but you should implement them as projects. Alright, so it's phased implementation. When we implement them as projects, like because projects are, you're going to see like you're accomplishing things. So instead of one big strategy that says a change in the organization's configuration, da 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 da, and people just break it now down, you break it up into 10, 15 projects and just see something there, see something there, clarification of project, see something there, so people get to see successes along the way. Alright? So it's best to implement strategies as projects. Alright? There was one person I worked with, she was one of my bosses, and everything about her was project. Any strategies wanted to be implemented, she saw everything as a project. To the point of view that your everyday work, she didn't want to even do it like a project. I kept telling her that everyday work cannot be a project. What is the end? Yeah, I'm a project, and she just, I'm the project manager, but I didn't do it this year. I'm saying, yeah, but you can. It's one like one project because everyday work. We don't know when the customer calls on the phone, what them question are. Alright? So we can implement it like a project. So we don't know what the quality is, we don't know what the delivery. So it has change. So we have to work to try to convince her. Alright, so remember a few things here. These are the things that make project successful, and these are the three main characteristics of project. They deliver routines, and we want to implement strategy via a stream of projects. Alright, here are a few other things that we need to be aware of. Example, I will never ask you what are the stages of the project life cycle. But we know we need to understand them this because all it's going to do is present the case and you just need to figure out what needs to be done here. Alright? So it's not a question that he's going to ask you. Name the four phases or stages of the project life cycle. Not interested. Alright? All projects should have something that we call project initiation. But project initiation happens under the project definition life cycle. So it starts with a definition. And most of the things that we're going to talk about in terms of project actually happen under the definition. The other stages are really a much the first talk about. So the definition is really where everything happens. This is what we love asking questions on. Project initiation. Because we actually need to get this right for the project output. Alright, we need to start it right. We just need project start. Alright, there's another name for project initiation. Because there's a document around it, the PID, the project initiation document. There's also another document, same document, called the project charter. You might wonder why it has two different names, because there's actually, in terms of project management, like for ACC, you guys have a group of a body, a accounting body that you all get qualification on, that called ACCA. There's a body as well for project managers that they can actually get certification and become formal project managers. Alright? Now depending on which body it is, they use different names. What the examiner will do for you, because he recognizes that depending on your lecturer may make a reference to something as a project charter or may reference it as project initiation document. What he does is that he gives you both names. So he will say using the project initiation document and put in a bracket project charter. So you can't say it's because they use a different name, that's why you never know what it means. He uses both names. Alright? Alright. So on the project initiation, we should do a number of things. One, we should decide on which project to adopt. Alright? put this first because many times we get the impression, it might give us the impression that a company just decide to do a project and that's the end of it. Actually, what happens in a typical organization is that at the start of each project year, which is normally the start of their business year or something like that, there might very well be, let's say that this company have five SBUs, all right? Let's keep it simple. Them have five SBUs. Typically, each SBU probably want to make a lot of changes. Each SBU is going to look at it and say, there are some areas of weaknesses here that I need to address, or there's some things that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build market share. I want to be able to do certain things. I want to be able to, for example, launch my website and can sell things on the website. So each SBU, strategic business unit, might very well, let's be conservative and say, have 10 project initiatives that they work on. All right? So each, when you look at five of them, each one of 10, that is 50 project initiatives. Typically, many projects last anywhere from 6 months to a year. And you have those, of course, that go longer than that. They'll go all the way up to 3 years. All right? Look how much time take project initiatives are there. Imagine that that company has one IT department. And let's say a good portion of those projects are IT related components. Which means that you're going to need IT staff. You don't have enough staff to take on the 50 projects. What do? You're going to have to prioritize. Yeah, you have to find a basis. Alright? Which means that the 50 will never get done that year. And so we probably end up all just doing 5. Which means 45 of them now can probably be brought forward the next year, but the next year have another 50. Mm-hmm. And some of them might still, even those 5 that they choose may not even get done. Yeah. Alright? So what we do is we try to decide which project to adopt by looking at its impact on the organization. That's why we talk about objectives up here. What objectives are you trying to accomplish? Alright? One of the things might be that you want to increase or improve customer experience. One category may be that you want to improve profitability. Another one might be you want to improve efficiency. Alright? But you come up with a matrix and try and decide on which one. So when I was at NCB, when I look at the number of the IT projects, every year they had something like 130 projects, of which they could really do realistically. I think they said 20, but in reality, they probably could have done only 12. But them try ambitiously to take on 20 out of the way, and then they have to now look at it in terms of which one is closest to the organization's mission. Now, all of them being close to the organization's mission, so they look at what they're doing, they're trying to improve efficiency, the bank want that. They're trying to improve profitability, the bank want that. They're trying to improve customer experience, the bank want that. So those I think were the 3 categories, right? And so we have to say, all right, let's pick 3 from this area, 2 from that area, whatever that area, and they get a number, and they have to know that look at all the projects that fall within that area and pick 1 or 2 or 3 of those. Alright, so it's a difficult thing. So we mentioned in one of the notes that we look at stuff to find out like the gap analysis, we do the fishbone analysis, all kind of things that will allow you to see what areas of weakness the business has and which project is going to solve. Alright? Once that has been selected, persons will do up their their project. They will now do something here. A business case. Yeah. bring them from? Right. Yeah. What we will do is in business case, very, very important. A business case is a business case, guys, is a reasoned justification for undertaking a project. The examiner is going to ask you about business case. Look on page 3, we mentioned stuff related to business case. Alright, so on page 3, we mentioned stuff as it relates to business case. And the examiner many times combine business case and the project initiation document. So I'm going to look at those in the handout. Look at the handout. It's a reason, justification, yeah, justification for undertaking the project. Look at what we mentioned, some of the typical contents of the business case. That's at the bottom there of page 3. So apart from the introduction, it includes a management summary, a description of the current situation, the options that are being considered, analysis of what? Costs and benefits. Alright? The investment appraisal, normally you might use stuff like payback period, you might use NPV, you might use IRR, you might use ARR, internal rate of return, right? Which is which is the number that makes the NPV 0. You will not be required to calculate IRR in P3. We give the formula in there just for completeness, but you will not be required to calculate them. You just need to interpret it, what it says. Alright? And here's one of the interpretation that he has given in the past. He has given you data which shows that the IRR, where they were looking at 2 projects and one had a higher NPV and a higher IRR, and it was chosen over the one with the lower NPV and the lower IRR. And the person in the case, the boss, was saying he really should have gone with the other project which had the lower NPV and the lower IRR because it should have a higher IRR. And what we really want to tell them is that actually it cannot. The one with the higher NPV will always have the higher IRR. Right. Which was a simple discussion. So the manager said, no, only set up the team so that the one you win and the one you never win, and in the text that I think the project he wanted them to do, they didn't do it. So all the examiner did for you, calculate everything and just get the numbers and say, tell me what if what the manager is saying is true. And of course, not what he said was true. Alright? But note the relationship between the NPV and the IRR. They move in the same direction. Alright? Alright, so that's it out. And then there's a risk assessment. The risk assessment part for us is on page. Oh, did I pass it already? Yeah. Oh, no, not that. There's a part that we talk about for risk. I'm just going to talk to you. Oh, on page 12. Yeah. All right. So page 12 just mentions that. So even we're mentioning having a risk management part in your risk assessment part as part of your project management, as part of your business case setup. We expect you to include risk assessment and risk management as part of the work. Alright, what does this mean? It means that you need to do things, some of the stuff that I mentioned in P1, look for risk, identify their probability, identify their impact, assign someone to be that risk owner, and that person will monitor that risk, and if the risk occurs, they are to take the action that you would have written up in your risk register. Alright? And that's all we want to know about risk management. We're not even going to know more details because we're not re-examining P1, but we still want you to be aware that every project has risk associated with it. Alright, so let me just go back through finish going through what we have in our project and our business case, and then I will link it to the project charter. I mentioned about the risk assessment, description of the cause and impact of the risk, the impact assessment, the probability, countermeasures, and who owns that risk. Then you make a recommendation as to what option you must go with, and then of course you put in an appendices that speaks to any data that is not in the main body of the report, because you know you don't put that in the main body of the report. Alright, here's what the examiner will do. The examiner will say to you, I'm describing something that has happened, and it shows that the project never went so well. Right? You can also get a flip side where the project is well, because he has asked question on that as well. But often he prefers to give you, to be not saying the name here, so I want this number. Yeah, 250. How much check should I give you from that 4 checks? Right? So here's what the examiner tell you. Something go wrong with the project. And he's gonna say, suppose they had these that I mentioned, they never did a business case, or they never did a process initiation. And he's gonna say, suppose the persons in the case had used a business case or a project initiation document, how would it have prevented the problems that occur in the case from occurring? Alright? So what you do, you're gonna look at all the elements of your business case, look at what happened in the case, look at all the elements of your project charter. Look at what, for example, we have in the project charter. Budget information. That's just below your business case on page 4. Alright? Everybody see that? Yeah, but we don't know if they're making a mistake. That's a side line. So hopefully it's going to end up at GL. I'm going to work a week. Right? And I'm going to read it. And look at a few of the source documents. We can check back the check. I think that is. Or the bottom part of that. That's it. I would say yeah. So look at, for example, what is on in terms of the budget information and the project chart. Here's what happens sometimes. They never plan the budget. Alright? So somebody will tell you, the board will say, how is the project costing 20 million when I thought it was going to be 10? You know why? No budget information was. And if they had done a project initiation document, it would have asked for the budget information. Similarly, if they had done a business case asks for cost and benefits. The cost must be in there. So if you have done a business case, the board can say, they never do. Alright? Similarly, we look to the benefits. We want the benefits to be a particular way. The business case talks a lot about the benefits. There are, as far as benefits are concerned, there are a few benefits that you must know on page 5. The way I overlook these, he's going to ask you for the category of benefits. You should be able to tell them apart when you see them because this is what he's going to ask you to do. He's going to give you a table with a list of benefits. And he's going to ask you to put them in these 4 categories. Observable benefits are things that you can see that if the project is successful, staff morale, for example, will go up. But while you can see it, you cannot measure it and you cannot quantify it. You know, so people happier. You want people want to stay at work and when you ask them to stay late and the work a little bit at the end and overtime. So no problem, sir. Alright? We notice that the quality of work improve, everybody not grumble and customers happy and we happy, everybody happy. Observe. It don't mean that when I'm doing a business case, I can put how much that is. Is the fact that staff happiness at work $10 more in benefit? 100 million? 100 million. We don't know. So we call that observable. Some benefits are better than observable. We can measure them. Alright? So we expect, for example, that we're putting this new system and it can record and customers can log in online and sign up online, all of those things that will happen. So we know that we're going to get more customers from it. The thing is that we cannot accurately predict the increase. Does that mean 10 more customers, 10% more customers, 50% more customers? We don't know. Again, we didn't answer that. Guesswork. Alright? So the first 2 sets of benefits are really guesswork. Why are we bringing up this? We said, come up with your business case that we said is a reason justification. We talk about cost and benefits. Nobody wants to put money in there because money is a benefit. And people see, when management has to make decisions, and I look like that and say, you know what? This house save me $500 million, this house give me $500 million, versus yours now we're coming now and saying, well, on the part that we can quantify and we can do financial, it will give you $10 million more. But You're not happier staff. You get no customers. And that's why you write in there, no customers. That don't mean nothing to me. See that man you tell me say $500 million more. You are telling me about no customers. What is that? So chances are I will go with the 500 million and enough customers. Your one might actually turn out to be even better for me, but because a lot of them you can't quantify, you can't put this in this place, so you can't win. So what some people do is that they make up numbers. The examiner here one so something is I can look realistic to you. You must ask the question. You see where you say observable in particular, ask them where they get the numbers from. Because people can inflate observable because they can't prove observable. Because they want for their project to win. So let's say before again, 500 million them and give me that have no customers and happy staff. So we realize they have a pick the 500, so what am I do? I tell us a staff morale will increase to the point of $600 million. You don't know what to get that number from him. I just put a number in there so that I beat the number. And the very first thing we see, observable benefits, and you see the numbers in there, guys. Right to the examiner and say that question, whether we get them numbers here from. It could have been 5 cents we put today. You don't know anything. Alright? The others now, these two are easier to measure. So we say quantifiable. So let's say your light bill because you were using fluorescent bulb before it when you switch LED. That is a scientific thing. Alright? You know that if you take out this and put in LED, use them for the same period, you know exactly what percentage reduction in energy use you're going to get. So as long as you know the exact numbers, it will come up quantifiable benefit. Alright? Because we know the exact improvement in terms of kilowatt hours. The only difference between quantifiable and financial is that we take the same quantifiable, we multiply it by a cost, and get a dollar. Yeah. So that's what quantifiable means. That we can accurately predict the change or the improvement. And financial must be we take that quantifiable amount. So if our energy use, our kilowatt hours cut by 25%, and our bill used to be $100,000, we expect that on the financial side, we will say we will save $25,000. Alright? But sometimes what happens is that the persons listen to the case where the examiner is saying, people don't do business case or they don't do the project initiation document, they don't know, they don't have staff fully assigned to it. You have situations, the process initiation document speaks to it as well, where you don't know who is responsible for what. Those are all the things that can either go wrong or go right. Alright? The other 3 stages are all on page 4, which is the project design, which is where they do most of the project manager will do most of the project work in terms of the project design and what the steps are involved in the project. The project delivery is where people actually start doing work. So if if the audit is viewed as a project, the project design would involve all the things, the necessary steps you take in terms of putting together all the questions that you're going to ask, all the documents you're going to look for, get all the spreadsheet tools together, like I said. Let me plan, you come up with your schedule of work to say by week 1 we're supposed to do this, week 2 we're supposed to do this, week 3 we're supposed to do that. All project design. When you go outside now to do the audit itself, that is now project delivery. Activity where you actually undertake the activity. At the end of the audit, you need to do something that we call project development. At project development, you do a post-project review. Yeah. What went wrong? What went right? Who must work with who again on the team? That kind of thing. Let's see if essentially before we had said that this audit was going to take 4 weeks, it took 6 weeks. What went wrong? Is our estimation wrong? Let's find out how we can estimate more accurately going forward for those types of audits. Alright? There's another thing that we do in in project development. In project development, we also do something called benefits realization. I'm writing it up here because it's also something your examiner will speak to. You see, all the benefits of project will promise over here in the business case at the end of the project, not immediately. We have to wait because remember, benefits don't accumulate until sometime after. So we're putting something new and respect that it should give us the ability to get more new customers, keep them in a database, make it easier for us to see who have what product and those kind of things. We expect to have other things like improve staff morale, we're supposed to save electricity, blah, 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 blah. No, the project done today, we can check today if we have realized it. Alright? So we change all the LED lights today. We can't really look today. We have to wait until the JPS bill come, was it a month or two down the line when it starts to appear there. Alright? So that's where we check to see, did it really reduce the JPS bill and are we seeing the financial benefits that we have promised. We put in a new system, again, systems are having little problems and you need to work out those bugs, but give it a 3 months, 6 months. Then we check, is the staff happier? I don't want to do a lot of manual work now for tasking and then reach class late, right? Because the boss will let them go. Alright? And now just 1 second after the month end, boom, you can do the tasking and then come to class on time. The staff happier. Again, I can't judge that until sometime after the project has been completed. Alright? So here's the thing, benefits realization cannot happen before the project is finished, and it cannot happen just after the project has finished. You have to give it that. Alright? Oh, one more thing in terms of project delivery though. Project delivery, what that means for us is that it's when we do the work and we have delivered it to the user. So if the user does not accept the end of our project, if whatever the output of our project is, they don't accept it, we cannot consider the project to have been delivered. The user has to sign off on it, and then it is considered delivered. Alright? Look on just quickly on page 9, we mentioned project management and the duties of the project manager. Be aware of those. The examiner not in the mood to ask you list questions like these anymore, but still pay attention. Reason why, again, what he will do, and most of the answers you'll be able to pick up from the case, but if you don't know what is wrong and what is right, you will skip over them. Alright? So he's going to give you something, for example, like say the project didn't have a sponsor. You need to pick that up as a problem. Or the project had a sponsor. The sponsor, remember, is an important individual in project management. You see the sponsor? The sponsor is not the project manager, should never be the project manager, but the sponsor can release resources. Resources can be money or it can be staff. So I say I want Joanna to be on my project team permanently because I keep asking for her, but she had her main job. And if I wait till she finishes her main job, I say I want her to be full time on my project. As a project manager, I can't go and take her. Right. And sometimes even when I ask her supervisor, He may not, but guess what? I'm going to go to the project sponsor, and the project sponsor want big person, have clout. And that project sponsor, if I make my case to the project sponsor, could say, all right, I'm going to release her. All right? And if your manager could have vexed the boss, don't care, she know on my project. All right? Now also, because remember, every project have a budget. If I'm going to burst the budget in any way as a project manager, who will tell? Tell the project sponsor. And then I will say to the project sponsor, say, no, 10 million was the limit. What can you do to still stay within the limit? And then I will say, you know, I'm going to drop off some of the things then. Was going to deliver 10 things, we're going to deliver 7. Yeah, something like that. And it will come in on the and the project sponsor may be okay. I may end up running late as well. Because Joanna will get sick, or she feels that she's sick. Right? And so she threw me off. So now I was to deliver it last week, but now she did sick for the whole week. Claims the Riverton smoke and whatever. We can't do nothing about that. The Riverton smoke and she bring me that certificate. So we got the project sponsor now and I said, Joanna said, the doctor certificate here. Can we come in and wait? And then the project sponsor could say, alright, or the project sponsor could say, I really need you to deliver it that day because we're a large marketing campaign that area. So you know what can you do, which might mean that people are going to do overtime and the project sponsor may very well okay increase in the budget at the top. So the project sponsor absolutely important. Alright? Is a manager. Normally it's a senior manager. Alright, so probably like the CEO or if it's a SB or strategic business, you will head a division or somebody, but a somebody powerful. Not even an ordinary manager, somebody powerful. Alright? And look at some of the things that I was also giving you some indication of some of the project managers' responsibilities. Take a look at those. Those are self-evident. You can read them. Again, he's not going to ask you to list out these list of attributes. But look on it to see if based on the case, someone was not suitable to be a project manager. Alright? But he's not going to ask you to give me a list of characteristics that makes a project manager. Just read the case and find out if the person. Is it somebody who can communicate? Is it somebody with good communication skills? Is it somebody who can settle disputes? Because in a team, we were talking about the storming. Storming never happen as a project manager. You have to quell them kind of fight. If you're kind of quiet and shy and that kind of thing, then maybe that's not your work. That type of thing. Alright? So pay attention to those as well. And I think that is, look on page 11, dealing with slippage. I kind of hinted at some of these, but all of those options that talk about dealing with slippage, what it should mean is that you still must speak to the project sponsor. If you realize something has gone wrong, you need to tell the project sponsor. Look out for that in the case. That's what you always love showing in the case. Things go wrong, then not tell the project sponsor. Here's a question once where things went well. Something was going wrong, it was going to take longer than they expected. And as soon as they discovered that, they went to the project sponsor, and the project sponsor said, okay, and then do an adjustment to the marketing plan. So the examiner said, tell me, read the case and tell me all the things that they did right. So sometimes not what they did wrong, sometimes what they did right. And it's very important, guys, don't forget the project sponsor must be communicated to. If anything is going to damage any of these, the quality, the budget, or the time, project sponsor must. Alright? And as I said, for the others in terms of the contents of classrooms in, other stuff are there that are fairly easy to read. I just wanted to highlight the major areas that your examiner will focus on in terms of project. And he has been asking questions related to project management nearly everything. Tend to like this, benefits realization, these benefits, sometimes throwing a little risk, no business case, and project initiation. Go back through the notes, we got all the parts in there, we got all the parts in the business case. Alright, those are what help to identify where things were. Alright, because they did not do those things. Alright? Alright, any questions? Alrighty. See you guys next week.